Last thought, train. Someone is. And you can either put in the work now or you can put in the work later on down the line when you meet somebody who's already put in the work. So figure it out. Good afternoon, family. It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon, and it is a perfect chance to put together a little video for you on a particular topic that's been mentioned in every single one of our classes, centering around the use of optics and red dots, sighting in your optic. We're going to do that today. Most of the questions have been centered around dots on handguns. The same concepts apply, with the exception of a little bit of a range difference, but the same concepts apply for rifles. But let's talk about zeroing your red dots. For today's video on this topic, we're going to be using this handgun. This is a Glock model 43X. It's Glock's subcompact slimline 9mm. From factory, comes with this 10-round magazine. I have purchased the Shield Arms 15-round magazine for this, but it is a very thin line 9mm handgun. And the main point of this, the main star of the show, is this. The Holosun, what I'm using is the HS507K. This is a red dot. You can get them in red or green. This is a 2 MOA dot, so it's a fairly small dot. That's 100% my preference. I prefer a small dot on all my dots. Handguns, rifles, doesn't matter, shotguns. I prefer a small dot signature on all of my optics. You can also get these in what's in a 6 MOA, which is about 3 times the size. For me, it's a pretty large dot. Most of your optics, if you see a handgun that comes stock with a red dot on top of it, it's generally going to have a 6 MOA size dot on it. Nothing wrong with that. Just again, my preference, I like a nice small dot. Takes a small signature off the target. Allows me to pinpoint just a little bit better, be slightly more accurate. But most of the time you're going to run into a 6 MOA. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, again, that's the Holosun 507K. What we're going to do is we're going to work off of a target over here, and I'll show you a second. We're going to shoot from about 10 yards. When I zero my handgun optics, I zero those dots at about 10 yards. When you're talking about close quarters handgun shooting, you're not worried too much about a lot of rise in that bullet or even a lot of drop in that bullet. Now, if you're going to talk about spending a lot of time shooting at what we consider pretty far distances with a handgun, 75, 100 yards and up, most people don't do that. Very, very few people do that. You'll want to reconsider the range at which you zero your dot. But for the majority of the people who are using their handgun in the capacity of a self-defense weapon or a self-defense tool, you're going to be talking about a pretty close distance. Majority of armed conflict happens within around 21 feet. That's only 7 yards. So I zero my dots at 10. It makes the zeroing nice and easy so that I can really dictate where I need to move my dot. But let's get into it. Okay, so coming into our sight in of our red dot, this is my typical handgun shooting platform. Got a nice big chair. Hey, thanks, Mom. It's my Christmas present last year. This is how I typically sight in my red dots. I have a chair that I sit in, and then I have a chair or something that I can rest on. Doesn't have to be a chair, can be a sawhorse, can be a barrel, can be whatever. These little patio chairs that we have tend to be a pretty perfect size. And then, like I said, we're about 10 yards out. We're going to come in. I'm shooting at this little piece of cardboard, extra piece of cardboard I have here. Put about a 1-inch or so Sharpie circle right in the middle of it, okay? And that's what we're shooting at. One thing you want to be careful of, if you have steel on your range, you want to make sure you're not firing at steel at a distance much closer than about 10 yards. Steel can produce a lot of fragmentation, a little bit of backsplash. You don't want to be really anywhere near that. So as always, obviously, you want to wear ear protection and eye protection. Stay at least 10 yards away from steel, if at all possible. All right, folks, so as discussed, Glock 43X, Holosun 507K. We're going to put 3 rounds on that black dot, or as close as we can to it. Looking at this dot, this is brand new. I just put it on this weapon. I'm going to guess I'm going to shoot high. That's my guess, just the way it's sitting. But yeah, we're going to see what it looks like, make some adjustments going from there. As always, you want to make sure you get a good solid grip. If you've been in our classes, we've taught you what a good grip is. Good solid grip, good stable platform. 3 rounds. This is not for speed, not for time. Take your time. best shots possible. I'm going to turn the brightness down. It's something to consider. I like my brightness fairly low. That helps me to make sure I don't have any much starbursting at all. I'm getting as accurate of a shot, accurate of a sight picture as possible. Okay, that's 3 rounds. I can already see my target, and I can tell in fact, I'm just a little bit left, but I'm gonna take you up there. We're gonna see how you diagnose where you are and how you make the right decision to make the right adjustments. Let's go take a look. Yeah, we're not really off on elevation at all. We're just a little bit left, maybe slightly high, but not enough that I'm really gonna worry too much about it. But let's talk about the way you diagnose it, the way you mark your target, so you know what shots you're hitting each time, and you make sure that you're doing this as efficiently as possible. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to identify the 3 shots that you just took. Okay, obviously there's my first 3. It's easy to identify. And the way I was taught, okay, I'm not going to say this is the only way. This is a way, and I think it is the best way. Okay, you go from shot to shot and draw lines. 1, 2, and 3. And that gives you a little triangle, right? And you just take that triangle and you take the centermost spot of that triangle, and that is the intersection of your shots. And then you're going to make a determination. I know this isn't gridded, so you may not be able to tell perfectly, but we're just about 1 inch left, maybe slightly more than 1 inch. So again, you know, this is not our target. The smallest point in the middle is our target. Okay, so maybe we're about 1.5 inches left, and we might be 1 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch high. We're going to make very, very few adjustments. Let's go back to the table. Let's talk about how to make those adjustments. Okay, so again, we looked at the target. We're pretty close to where we want to be, about 1.5 inches left, about 3/4 of an inch or 1 inch high. Holosun red dot optics pretty much have all the same ratios as far as how many clicks is how many inches and so on and so forth. For this optic and for pretty much all the red dots, 1 click is 1 inch, is 1 MOA, 1 minute of angle. But what that means is it's 1 inch difference at 100 yards. Now, we're not shooting at 100 yards or zeroing at 100 yards. 1 click is 1 inch at 100 yards, which means at 50 yards, it's a 1/2 inch. At 25 yards, it's 1/4 of an inch. 1 click will move your dot or move your shot 1/4 of an inch at 25 yards. We're about 10 to 12 yards, so we're just under half of what that 25-yard valuation would be. So we're looking at about 1/8 of an inch change with each click. Okay, so you do a little bit of math in your head, and you say, okay, if I'm about 1.5 inches off to the left, I'm going to be approximately we're going to be about 8 clicks per inch. I need to pull my shot right about 12 clicks. And if I'm about 3/4 of an inch, I think about 3/4 to 1 inch high, I need to pull my shot 6 to 8 clicks down. Let's make sure our weapon's safe. We're going to remove our magazine. We're going to make sure there's no round. We are safe. We talk in our class. We're going to visually and we're going to physically check to make sure we have no magazine in the mag well, no round in the chamber. Okay? And then we're just going to do a proper clearing procedure, check it, open it up, and we are set. Okay? So you will see the adjustments. This, and again, I'm trying to get it to focus a little bit better. I don't know if I can or not. But this is the windage adjustment, okay? And you will see that for this, each click is a movement to the right. You're bringing your shot to the right. And then on top, you're going to have a elevation adjustment. That U stands for up. So each click in that direction is a click to bring your shot up. Okay, so let's test this theory out. So this little tool, I wear it on my chain with my wedding ring. I don't wear it all the time, but this is called the Multitasker Nano 2. I'm not sponsored by Multitasker. I was given this as a gift from one of my instructors from my instructor's class. Dave White, guy is phenomenal, hero of mine, love the dude. And every now and then he comes to Tulsa and we get to have dinner. So, but anyway, means a lot to me. But this thing is so cool because it has a little mini, if you can see, a little tiny flathead screwdriver and a little mini Torx head on it. And that flathead screwdriver is perfect for making the adjustments inside these windage and elevation adjusters. So again, we talked about this. We're 1.5 inches left. We want to come 1.5 inches right. That was 1 click is 1/8 of an inch. So 8 clicks per inch. 1.5 inches, the math is 12 clicks. So we're going to do that now. Okay, I'm going to show you. You're going to take this little tool, and let me show you as well real quick. Hollow Sun sends a tool with their, it's in my pocket, with their sights. Looks like this. It's a nice little tool. There's nothing in the world wrong with it. It's plastic. That's probably the only thing that's wrong with it, is it could break eventually, but I've used these a bunch, and it's got that same little screwdriver on it. But anywho, you can kind of see, if this focuses well enough, you've got the R and you've got a circle going this way. Okay, so we are going to turn this dial that direction 12 clicks and see what happens. Got to get in there, and you can kind of hear it if you listen real good. I'll get my mic close. That was 6. Let's do it again. There it is. I hope you guys could hear that. It's very, very quiet, very faint. So that was 12 clicks. We moved to the right. Okay, we want to take our shot to the right. Okay, now same thing up here. You've got a U for up and a direction arrow that's going that way. Okay, we actually want to bring it down 6 to 8 clicks. I'm going to take it 7 just to split the difference. Okay, so we're going to go the opposite direction that that arrow is showing us, because that's the direction for up. We want to take it down. Let's see what happens. Got it almost there. 6, 7. Okay. So that took our dot to the right. Excuse me. It's supposed to take our shot to the right 12 clicks, which should be approximately 1.5 inches, and down 7 clicks, about somewhere between 3/4 and 1 inch. So, only one way to test it. Let's load it up and see what happens. All right, folks, so same thing. We are going to be aiming at the same spot. Okay, we're not aiming where we hit earlier. We are aiming at the same black dot in the center of that cardboard. And the hope is that we pulled it over about 1.5 inches and down about 3/4 of an inch or so. 3 shots on the center dot. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I think maybe I'm a little low. I might have gone a little bit too low. But it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. Let's look at it. So my first shot, so this guy right here was my first shot, and I knew as soon as I pulled him, I didn't quite have my grip right, pulled it a little bit early, but we're still able to make a pretty decent determination. So we're going to draw a line there, draw a line there, and draw a line there. There is our triangle of shots, being our very center. About right there. So I think we probably made an adjustment slightly too low, and possibly slightly too far left, because again, I think if that far left shot had been a correct grip structure, and I had done that, took my time a little bit more on that, probably would have brought that over a little bit, and that would have moved our center shot just a little bit to the right. So let's make a quick adjustment. Okay, so we're back again. We're going to unload fully. We're going to do a proper unloading procedure. A few racks back and forth, lock it to the end. We're going to visually check our chamber, visually check our mag well. There's no magazine. There's nothing in the chamber, and we're going to physically check it, and we're going to be good. Okay, so we're going to make that same adjustment. I dropped my tool. Hold on. We're going to make that same type of adjustment. Remember, we're not going to move windage at all. We're just going to move elevation. So we're going to bring our tool in here. Remember, we want to go up. So now this time we're going to follow that arrow. We're going to go the direction of that arrow. We were 3/8 to a 1/2 inch low. It could be shooter error. I don't think we're quite that low. So instead of taking it a full 1/2 inch up, we're going to take it about 1/4 inch up. 2 clicks. See what happens. 1, 2. Okay, I know it's crazy to think such a small adjustment makes such a big deal. It does. makes a huge, huge, huge difference. Let's load it up. Let's send 3 more downrange. Let's see what happens. All right, folks, we're gonna get back on the target. Again, we made a 2-click up adjustment. That's gonna be about 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit more, slightly more of an adjustment, just to bring it up. All right, let's see. All right, so here you see where those shots were, and I think we're pretty well dialed in. Again, you know, I had this flyer right here. I don't know what his problem was, or really what my problem is, honestly. And then this one wasn't too great, but he is, again, get one of those every now and then. Didn't count this guy right here. I gave myself another shot, but we've got our 3 shots we're considering right here. This guy, again, was an absolute fluke. I knew right as soon as he left me that we had a problem. So we're going to connect these 3, and you're going to see where we end up. Now, it's a little hard to see my line when we get into this black on black, but we are looking about right here. Okay, so that shot to the right was slightly off. I could feel it as soon as I sent it, but it wasn't too terrible, so I decided to go ahead and count it. Guys, from 10 yards out, if I suck that guy in, which 99% of the time I'm going to, from 10 yards out, we're putting a pretty good grouping down, okay? So we have a pretty good indicator. I think if my shots are all correct, we're actually probably moving that center point about here, which is right exactly where we want to be. Okay, so after only 3 rounds of shooting, 2 minor adjustments, 1 fairly large adjustment, we made a pretty big difference in the sighting of our red dot. We only started at 10 yards, 1.5 inches to the left, about 1 inch, 3/4 inch high. But here's the deal. If we make a much further shot than that, those differences compound significantly. And you saw what they were. The windage and elevation adjustments were in half, or they're doubled as you double your distance out, which we can only take to mean that there's a rather massive effect on our shot placement as we step further away from the target. So if we're going to make a nice 0 pretty close like that on a compact weapon that we are not going to be using at a great distance, that we're going to be carrying for self-defense purposes, but we were able to take that, we were able to make small minor adjustments, and now we are right where we want to be. So the last thing to do, and it's the best part, it's the most fun part of zeroing a firearm, is now we're going to shoot it for real. Now we're going to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to make sure that, hey, from a self-defense distance, we are accurate and we are on target, and we're just going to have a little fun with it. So let's do that. So yeah, so we're going to move back to about 15 yards here. We're going to do some doubles on target and just see how that goes. We may even do a little few with a shot timer. And then have a little fun from there. But yeah, we're going to put about 15 rounds on steel. Let's just see what happens. So now we know we're on target. Let's do a little bit. Let's do a little bit for time. Okay, so let's try this from concealment. A couple rounds on target. Just do a quick double. We're going to draw from concealment, clear concealment. Remove our firearm on target. 2 shots on steel. For time, let's see how that goes. So that was fairly slow. Took my time on that, and what you ended up with was a 3.7. So that's 3.7 seconds to clear concealment, remove the firearm, 2 rounds on steel. Let's see if we can speed it up at all, just a little bit. I think that sped it up a little bit. Not much. We were a 3.37, now we're a 3.37. Again, about 15 yards. Let's turn you around and you can get a better idea of what that means. Yeah, okay, so about 15 yards from steel. Let's do it again. See if you can see. I'm carrying up here about the 4 o'clock position. Most people don't like that anymore. A lot of people do the whole appendix carry. Nothing wrong with that. I think it works great for a lot of people. If you got a tummy, it's a little harder. Get rid of the tummy. That's what I should be doing. All right, 2 rounds on steel from concealment. Do it again. Not bad. 328, 328, 15 yards. First shot's at 264. I don't know if you can see that or not. 2.64. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see. And by split though is 0.64. So my time between first shot and second shot was about 0.6 of a second. Let's do it again. This is fun. Let's do it again. I don't know if you notice or not, but before I'm taking my shots, before the timer goes off, I'm trying to stand in just a very kind of basic, relaxed, generic position. Train yourself to work from a position that you're going to find yourself in. Okay? If you get up in there and you're like, all right, I'm gonna get ready and I'm gonna shoot. Well, that's great, that's fine. But how often are you just standing in public, in line at the grocery store, or walking down an alleyway, or wherever you might find yourself needing to have a self-defense situation where your feet back, you're kind of boxing stance, hands up? Almost never. Stand up like you're hanging out in the grocery store parking lot. But we'll finish that up by saying, hey, just go from a position that you're gonna find yourself in. Don't cheat yourself on training. Train the way that you're likely to implement these skills. So let's do one more. Let's do one more from hands in the pockets. Hands in the pockets. Hands in the pockets, 2.84. So listen, you have the ability to do this. It just takes practice. Just takes practice. Get out there and do it. But hey, as far as zeroing our firearm, I think we've hit the mark. Shooting for about 15 feet and ping ping every single time, whereas we might have been a little bit off the last time. But hey, listen, I hope you had a good time with the content, and I hope you learned something. If you have questions, post them in the comments. Hey, I tried this, it didn't work. I tried that, it didn't work. If you have questions, post them in the comments. I would love to answer those for you and get those worked out. But listen, last thought, train. Train, because someone's training. And you can either put in the work now, or you can put in the work later on down the line when you meet somebody who's already put in the work. So figure it out. Put some time in, go to your local range. 50 rounds a month of 9mm is gonna cost you $15. Go shoot. Dry firing is free. Dry fire your weapon. If you don't know what that means, ask. I'll make a video about it. Dry fire your weapon. Train, train, train. Owning a gun's not enough. Do what you've got to do to be deadly with it. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I appreciate you guys so much. Hey, have a good day. See you later.